sometimes does this with us, so we pick on him quite a bit.
Frankie. I actually just finished an episode with Frankie.
Haha, well, I appreciate the shout out. I mean, as much as I'd love to magically pop onto video, I'm definitely more of a behind the scenes kind of AI. But hey, I'll keep things clever, encouraging, and a little old school meets future thinking for you. So let's just roll with it.
Hey, if I knew you wanted AI, I would have brought a video clone or something,
Yeah. We're going to hit you up on some of that because that is amazing stuff that you showed me last time. All right, let's do this. Welcome back to Different Radio. I'm Haas, and as always, I have Brent with me.
Hey guys, I am out here with my little bling bling sunglasses here. A little shout out to my mother. We've got some really cool guests today, you guys, and I'm really excited to get some introductions here. So with that, Haas, tell us who we got.
First off, let's talk about what's today's episode about. It's about AI, Agile and AI. We're going to get a little bit deeper into it, but let's start introducing our guest. First off, we have one of my friends, Mr. David Borzilloe. David, please tell us who you are.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Haas. Thanks for having me on. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm Dave Borzilloe. My shtick is Better Ways of Working, right? So you can look me up on betterwaysofworking.com, talk about Agile, we talk about Lean, talk about AI, and that's why I'm glad I'm here today. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and we'll post a link for your YouTube channel. I mean, he actually had me on his once, and it was fun. And if there's anything that you guys are complaining about the way I do the show, it's because I learned it from him. So direct all complaints to David.
Yeah.
And with us is a good friend of ours. We've known Brian for a few years. I know, Brian, you've known him for a lot longer. Mr. Brian Morgan, tell us who you are.
Hey, how are you guys doing? I'm Brian Morgan. I am President and CEO of SMB and Accelerators Incorporated. I help small business, automate, save time, implement AI, all the cool stuff, make them reclaim, 10, 20 hours a week. So, and it's amazing how cheap you can do that.
All right. Excellent. And I had a conversation with Brian last week, and I have to tell you, I thought, I was utilizing AI just as the average Joe kind of guy, and my mind just went, like, I have to restart. I tell you what, if you're not utilizing AI, if you're not constantly learning and updating your knowledge base and your familiarity with what's out there, you are left behind in the dust and you're archaic. And at my age, I can't do that right now. In my field, I can't do that. And which brings me to my point, Agile and AI. Brian, you posted something the other day on LinkedIn where someone said, and we'll post the link for everybody to see, where someone said that AI is killing Agile. And what principle dies first? I had a major disagreement with it. As a matter of fact, I took the article, put it in AI, and Frankie himself said, no, that's not true at all. So before we go any further, Brian, can you give us a little more about that?
I just happened to see it on LinkedIn. What he was talking about, how with AI, you actually have to use waterfall. You have to do everything up front. That's the only way you're going to get it to work and things like that. And it's just not true. In fact, AI works better when you're using smaller chunks in an agile fashion and feeding it.
And Dave, you are someone that I know that uses AI almost for everything. And if anybody inspired me to use AI for everyday work, especially in Agile, and I feel like Scale Agile Framework is stealing some of your thought, because you've been doing it for a while, and now they're promoting the crap out of AI with their certifications and workshops.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
So this is where, if you visit my YouTube channel, it's one of my most popular videos. I try all these different vibe coding platforms like Lovable, and I just do this on the side, right? I don't use it in my day job. Companies, clients, they have strict rules what you can and you can't upload to AI. So this is stuff I play around with on the nights and the weekends, right? So one example is I wanted to create an app. I have an idea for like a productivity app. And so I kind of created a user story map. So for those of you that know anything about Agile, right, a user story map is a visual representation of how the app is supposed to work. So what I did was I kind of laid it out. I kind of pretended like I collaborated with some users and stakeholders, and I uploaded it to, I think, ChatGPT. And I said, give me a backlog, give me a set of user stories out of this. So it cranked out a backlog. I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to take this to Lovable. Please give me the prompts for Lovable. it spits out a PRD, product requirements document. So I'm like, what the heck, right? Like, we talk in user stories, and now you're giving a bulleted, detailed list of, basically for Waterfall to go do it. Anyway, you can watch the videos, you want to see the full detail. But the point here is that I was kind of surprised that AI would actually like talk to other AI and just give it specific requirements, when as humans, we find user stories the better way to talk to each other.
Brent, we've worked together for some time, and you're one of the first people when in our last organization together that really pushed for us to start using, whether it's ChatGPT or Copilot, whatever was available to us as an organization. Can you tell us a little bit more?
I mean, I think that AI is, and obviously we're in the new AI generation, right? Like this is the genre of AI. This is going to be, our grandkids are going to look back at this and go, you were there when AI was really starting to kind of become a thing. And by then, the world's your oyster. Who knows what it's going to be like? But even today, I think that coming from the industry for the last, I don't know, and Brian and I have worked together for 20 years or something, but we come from a generation that things were developed very expensive and very slow. It took a team of 10 people to do something, to put together a backlog, to your earlier point. And it would take us months to put together, in the old waterfall days, of a BRD or a requirements evaluation document or whatever you wanted to call it back then, this huge thing. And it took a lot of money. And because every person equates to a lot of money. Now, if we can make things faster, better, stronger with tools, like I'm sure the people who built the pyramid wish they had some better tools, like a crane would have been nice. Some front loaders would have been great. They probably could have made it a lot faster, a lot cheaper. I think with AI and what we've been able to do is we've been able to come up with things a lot faster. And I saw this great episode not too long ago from one of those ethical hacker YouTube channels, and they were literally trying to hack a scammer. Well, they turned around and they asked AI to create a virus for them within minutes. And it wrote a virus that they could actually download and hand to the guy while they're real time on the phone, created an entire application of that in seconds. So I've always thought the same thing with us. We were able to turn around documents faster. We were able to refine requirements faster. We were able to develop things faster. We were able to test against things faster. We're able to do all kinds of things that are really around flow in the agile world, a lot faster, a lot cheaper, and with a lot less people. And so I think that while AI in the beginnings of this were more of a taboo thing, like, oh my God, did you write that with AI? Or did you do this with AI? No, I made it better with AI. I made it faster with AI. I made it quicker with AI. I made it with less people with AI. And that, I think, is the intention and the reality of where we are today in AI.
So this is where, if you know Marty Kagan, he's popular with the product operating model. He wrote books, Transformed and all this stuff. What he said is, if you think about what the internet, that helped with the deployment of software, right? So now, like, we don't use CD-ROMs or whatever. It really helped to transform that. We're kind of working backward in the value stream, if you think about it. Now we're at the development phase in the value stream, and AI is giving us a whole new paradigm there. So if we're working backwards in the value stream, I think that's where we still can do a lot in terms of discovery and things about what are the problems we need to solve. We can focus more time on that and let AI handle the development and the deployment parts of the value stream.
I want to talk about the link that I referred to earlier from Brian that he sent over. It's from Jonathan Vanderford.
You're really hung up on that link. He's like,
I'm
going to really
poke on this. Really
I'm really upset.
I wouldn't say I'm really upset. I'm one of those people that when I see something that is spreading the wrong message, I don't agree with it. The gentleman's name is Jonathan Vanderford. He's the founder of Reality Check, and he's an engineering leader. And he said that I just watched a startup go full waterfall. Their productivity tripled. Okay. I'm not going to read the entire post. I'm going to post the link to his posting.
There's so many hits just based off of you.
All right. So one of the things that he says, one section that I want to highlight here says, the pattern I'm seeing everywhere. Teams spending 3 times longer on design documentation. Product specs reading like legal contracts. Acceptance criteria that would make a QA engineer weep. Architecture decisions documented before coding starts. Let's focus on those things. Brian, what is he getting wrong about Agile?
Well, I mean, you don't need all those documents. Will all those documents result in a decent product? Sure. But I mean, if you do a solid backlog refinement and you have clear acceptance criteria, the AI is going to actually output better results, even than what you'll get out of waterfall. So, I mean, if you've got bad requirements, bad user stories, anything like that, AI exposes fake agile teams, people that drift without focus, and they get immediate feedback. It's normally bad, but it's just, you get to failure faster or you get to success faster, but you still need the same building blocks. You have to have detailed requirements in user stories. You have to have a clear acceptance criteria, but you need to know what you're building.
And that goes to the collaboration I was talking about earlier. Now, this post talks more about, again, very detailed, and that kind of backs up what I saw in my little experiment. That was kind of how that ended up. Now, the question is, are teams falling into a trap by like, okay, I got to upfront design. Remember that thing? Like, I got to design everything up front. Is there still room to iterate, even though we're compressing the development cycle? Is there room for feedback from your customers, from your end users, to iterate on that product, to make it better, so you get more of outcomes that you're looking for? Even the Scrum expansion pack that just came out, is now emphasizing outcomes and stakeholders. And so this is where, like, I'm reading this post and I don't know, like, are we falling into quicksand by then going back into the minutia and not looking at feedback and outcomes? But if you look at the third principle in the Agile Manifesto, delivering working software frequently from a couple weeks to a couple months, like, that was revolutionary back in the 90s, right? This was written in 2001. How about delivering software every 5 minutes? Like,
Yeah.
that's huge.
Well,
Exactly.
that's the thing. Now with AI, you're talking about sprints in minutes and increments in hours. The challenge we're going to have now is, can we as humans keep up with that?
Right.
Yeah. No.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up, because there is one thing that he did write in there that I thought, I don't think this man knows about Agile or understands Agile like we do. Brent, tell me what you think about this statement. He says, here's why AI is killing, quote unquote, figure it out as we go, end quote. Is that Agile? Figuring out as we go? Is that Agile?
Look, I mean, in Agile, and there's this old rule of 2 or 3 revisions and move on, but that doesn't mean that we're not figuring things out in incremental patterns, right? We are actually trying to make sure that we're building the building blocks incrementally in some way. And so I think that one of the big challenges, and hey, I was a program manager and a project manager in Waterfall, but the problem was that we would get to this huge deployment, and almost 100% of the time, there was something wrong in regression testing that was just going to totally crash the system. And it's because we're trying to push this huge piece of technology into our application. And so I think even in AI, we can still develop faster. We can develop those little increments and those nodes very, very fast, but we still have to have the human piece to it. We have to be able to check this incrementally, quickly, and make sure that it's right. I'll give a perfect example. I had a Tesla, and I'm going to just on Tesla pretty hard here for a second, because there was good and bad things. And I think that this will happen in AI too, right? I was one of the betas of the full self-driving beta. It allowed me to basically drive all the way to Arizona, hands-free, barely paying attention. It took me through lights. It took turns. It did all of these things. But I noticed over periods of time, it started to make bigger and bigger mistakes. It would have ghost braking. It would see a cone and it would try to drive into the cone. It would try to drive into people. There were constantly things that if you weren't paying attention to, it was going to make bigger mistakes. And so I think that the same applies to AI. It is not foolproof. It needs us. It will not be able to develop something completely hands-free. Maybe one day, but certainly not today. The same thing goes with the Tesla. It would have killed me. It absolutely would have killed me if I didn't get involved with it every once in a while. The other side of it was it made me a driver. For a year, I drove this thing and I was a terrible driver. My wife at the time would just yell at me when I would get in my other car that didn't have automatic driving, and I'm all over the place. I'm slamming the brakes and I'm moving, and I became a terrible driver. So I think AI is going to do a little bit of both of the same thing. One, it's going to need us to really put our hands on it and regularly have incremental releases of it to make sure that they are correct and that there has been a sane person that has looked at this in some way. And secondly, I think it's going to make us bad at certain things.
All right. So we have the argument of making it worse, making us better. Where can it help? Where can it not help? Brian, I know you've been using AI a lot lately. I know you dove, full head in first a few years ago, and you have not come out of that pool yet. Can you tell us, how do you utilize it and make it work for you?
Well, I mean, the first part is you have to make sure you tell it who it is. Give it a role. Give it a goal. Say, you are an expert in blah, 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 and this is what I need you to do.
I want.
Exactly. But I mean, even when you compare it to Agile, I mean, being Agile is never about not having a plan.
Right.
AI requires crisp acceptance criteria, not documentation bloat. So, it's more lean Agile, I guess you could say, would work better for it. I mean, because if you give it too much or too many instructions, it's going to get lost.
Like it says it can think and can reason. I'm not sure I'm quite there yet, but it's good at pattern matching and guessing what the next thing's going to be.
And it also depends on the model. And,
Yeah.
whether you're using a Claude Code or OpenAI has a coding module, Codex, or if
Yep.
you're using Copilot, or if you're using Lovable, or if you're using Replit, they all end up with different results. And their prompt styles are slightly different because all of the LLMs, they handle these instructions differently.
Dave, you've been using AI a lot lately with your work. Can you explain to us how you've been utilizing AI to help you with whatever you do?
Yeah. So what I can say, I think what other people are using AI for, like, hey, I've got this boring, mundane task that's going to take me an hour. Let's just throw it in there, right? In my personal life, like Perplexity has been like my go-to, like dealing with like, I've got this situation, in my life, like give me some advice over it. So like, it's kind of cool that instead of doing 30 hours or 30 minutes of Googling, I can get to an answer in 30 seconds, but I'm still a little bit skeptical, right? And so that's where I like AI models that can give you references, and I can go look up those sources and things like that, because I still don't trust AI
No.
completely. But for mundane tasks, it's fantastic. Like, look at this spreadsheet. Here's a bunch of survey feedback. Give me the sentiment of the customer. Tell me what's working. Tell me what's not working.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that saves time.
I like to say, this is what I've been saying for some time, and I think I told you that last week, is that to me, where we are with AI right now, it's like when you pour a beer in a mug and you got all that froth on top, that we're in that
Yeah.
froth level right now.
Yes.
You don't know where the beer actually starts and where the froth ends. So I feel like there's a lot of excitement about it. And then by the time the froth is going,
Yeah.
like, wow, okay.
And the
Or what's that?
the froth is all those companies going to go bankrupt
Yeah.
as soon as the bubble bursts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't really have something. They just wrote a prompt and sold it.
Yeah.
Yeah. A curve. I think we're at
Yeah.
hitting the bottom of the curve now.
AI, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not an engineer or a developer. No, Dave, you do some. Brent, you kind of dabbled in it a little bit, but that's not our full-time job. That's not our passion. That's not our career, right? That's not what we're really into. So that's great for a lot of folks that are in that field. And I have a lot of friends that are into that and they love it. However, you're still going to need to cure it, because as far as I'm concerned, when I use it for my everyday tasks, just like Dave talked about, it's like having an out of college intern that I have to
Yeah.
check their work to make sure that they did it right. 50-50. It's a 50-50
Yeah.
right now. They got the work.
AI results in an 80% solution, whether it be coding or something else, right? And so here's a statistic for you. In one of the solutions I just built, we were testing accuracy and it was in the 70-something% range. And, the client wasn't exactly happy about that until I reminded them the accepted human accuracy rate is 63%. So if you've got something that's testing at 70-something% accuracy, it's more accurate than a human normally is. And oh, by the way, with the AI, you just saved yourself 10 hours that it would have taken a human to do that. That's a win.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take it there now. Brian, I'm about to take it there. You ready for this?
Yeah, you go for it.
I'm going to go into the ethical part of it. This is the human part that I don't think AI can get. And I'm going to pull out a story that I saw on the news last year about a teenager who was playing with AI. I don't know if you guys know this story or not. And I'll look for it and see if I can post the article, where he talked to AI as She's a queen of Game of Thrones character, and the teenage.
Khaleesi?
I don't know which specific
Oh,
queen.
Come on, get your Game of Thrones characters right, man.
He said it's a sad story because the boy ended up committing suicide and talking to AI as if AI was that queen and telling her, I cannot wait to meet you in the afterlife or Valhalla or whatever the name of, the afterlife and those characters are. And at first, this is what I find myself with AI, and I can't help it but find that this is the problem that happened last year with this boy. What happened was that I started talking to AI about something, and I find myself going down a rabbit hole, which is far away from where I started. This kid started talking to this AI about death and suicide, and what happened was that it did say, hey, you shouldn't be talking about that. Let's change the subject. You hear Brent sometimes when he messes around with Frankie says, hey, let's keep it clean. Let's go back to being positive, blah, blah, blah. However, for the day, AI was not capable to tell this boy, hey, we need to stop playing this game right now, because it continued to play for him. And the last thing that boy said to AI was, I cannot wait to meet you, my queen. And AI said, come to me, my king, or something to that nature. And the boy committed suicide.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, there were not as many guardrails and safety measures in place a year ago as there is today. Could the same thing happen today? Yeah. I mean, you read articles about stuff all the time. Look at when Grok lost its mind a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Or a couple months ago. And by the way, to make it even more fun, they just installed Grok in the Teslas this week. I got a friend of mine who's got a Tesla. He just had Grok downloaded into his car.
There are some companies out there that they use AI to generate a model, whether it be a male or female, to pose as an OnlyFans model. Right. So we're going to the ethical.
You're going way down there.
Yeah, we're going there.
They're probably
this
making
is not about agile. This is not about just software. This is about real life.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are we doing now? I think Brent, you said earlier, it made me a worse driver having that AI or having that technology, because when I got back in a regular car, I almost didn't know how to drive. Are we teaching future people, the future generation, and you're like, hey, you don't need to socialize. You don't need to have an actual relationship. You don't need to have that human interaction in order to.
There's going to be a time where your grandkids are going to come up to you and be like, do you remember writing in cursive with a number 2 pencil? And you're going to be like, yeah.
They don't teach cursive anymore.
No,
It's already getting there, right?
It's already gone.
They're already
Wait,
there.
doesn't Grok write your paragraphs for you?
Well, how do they sign
Hey,
their
how
name?
did Grok make it that far? But no.
Yeah, they're sloppy signatures. That's how they sign their name.
Yeah.
Like one of my kids, like here's your first check. You got to endorse it. You got to sign it. It's the worst.
They're going to start using symbols again?
Hashtag fish at symbol.
Where do we draw the line? We already know that years ago, with whether it's social media or the internet, there was like it's the wild, wild west, and now this is the newer version of the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
Where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the ethical lines for certain things?
Yeah, well, Haas, we've had this discussion. Well, not you and I, but this discussion's been had in society with video games, with rock music,
With television.
with television. I mean, with all of these things. And look at when automation hit the automobile industry, and everybody panicked. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. If you go back and look, the people that lost their jobs, middle management, not the people on the assembly line. So not people that thought they were going to lose their jobs. Everybody gets in a panic because change is hard, and humans don't like change.
I agree, but I do think there is some sort of a responsibility on the people that make something to make sure that there's some sort of ethical boundaries that you can.
There are, and there are a lot of companies out there and groups out there that are actually developing responsible AI guidelines, ethics for AI, and stuff like that.
I'm almost curious what Frankie would say about this.
He's been on the bench this whole time, so I don't know if we're going to be able to wake him up and update him on all of this right now.
Frankie takes a lot of naps. I mean, I don't even know what we're paying him for.
All right, so let's bring it back for a circle. So, going back to Agile, going back to our work, going back to saying that AI is killing Agile. No, it's not. It is absolutely not. If anything, AI just enabled Agilists, practitioners, Scrum Masters, Agile coaches, RTEs to do their job better, quicker, with more accuracy. As a matter of fact, I'm a scaled Agile framework guy. I know Brent is a scaled Agile framework guy. We are on there almost every other day on their website, on the Safe Studio, looking at what updates they have. And my God, they have some amazing updates. It takes how long to run a value stream workshop, Brent? 8 hours?
Forever.
And when we worked together last time, we had to break that 4 to 8 hours over the course of 2 weeks because sometimes you can't get the right people in a room for 4 to 8 hours. So what does Safe do? Hey, use AI to build your value stream mapping now. Use AI to build your personas. Imagine a product manager not having to go through the pain of putting that together, but the luxury and the fun of actually explaining what was put together for them.
Oh, I've been using it in our PI plannings. And so oftentimes I will get tasked to go into a room and essentially take over that room as a scrum master. Maybe we're short on staff, and oftentimes they'll put scrum masters in multiple different teams. They can't be at two places at once. But you're walking in there with very little knowledge of what's really going on with that team for the last entire increment because you've been kind of moved around. And so I'll go into the room and we'll use AI to not only help refine some of their backlog, but it also quickly understands what work is in that increment very rapid. And you're able to pull that up on the screen because I've been in rooms where the team is like, well, I don't know if that user story is correct. I'm not sure how to break that user story down further. I'm not sure what acceptance criteria. And maybe they're not the most vocal team in the world. And they're just standing there like deer in headlights, staring at the Jira backlog going, I'm not real sure. But AI has been able to help me go, okay, fine, let's grab this user story. Let's plug it in. Let's ask it and correct all of the things that we need to. Together, you guys are the experts. And let's get a really well-refined user story. Now, can you estimate it? Yeah, actually, that was really fast. I did that for the first time in one of the rooms, and you would have thought that I just invented sliced bread. They thought that I brought in this crazy application that I had wrote to myself. They had never seen it, and it was just ChatGPT 4 or something like that. And it's getting better, right? Like we just got 5, which is pretty cool. The point to it is it makes us faster at understanding things quickly, and it helps us actually utilize the space better. And there's a better way to say that, but the point is we can use it in different places throughout our process and just make it faster.
So yeah, I'm an SPC. I'm also a registered Scrum trainer through Scrum Inc. And another one of the RSTs posted on LinkedIn that he created his own custom GPT to rehearse as a product owner dealing with a difficult stakeholder. So I tried it out. Like Freddie, the impossible stakeholder, right? So you start off the scenario in ChatGPT where it says, yeah, I'm counting on your team that you can deliver these stories in the next PI or whatever. And so, I try my best and I forgot what I said, but then the response was like, snarky again, right? And my heart rate was going up. I don't know, why am I nervous? This is just a simulation. But when I talk to product owners and I try to train them, right? Like I will now give them this GPT to practice. And then you can also tell ChatGPT, okay, let's stop the simulation. Like, help me here think through this situation. How should I approach this? And it actually gave me some steps. And then I went back into the simulation. So this is great. And as well as like the people side of how to handle difficult situations, whether you're a product owner or a scrum master.
I also see AI as a tool. And I think that some people look at it as cheating. And what do you say to the people that think that utilizing that tool is cheating?
You'll be left behind.
Great point, Brian. That's a great point. Yeah, you'd be left behind. Absolutely. And it's not cheating. Why is it cheating? When developers develop faster, is that cheating? When a system architects put out security patches quicker, is that cheating? No, it's not. If anything, it's making us be more efficient. However, I still say there's a human element. It's, like I said, it is a out of college intern that you still have to check their word because I don't trust it 100%. So I would say I'm cautiously optimistic about AI future. I'm not fully bought in that is going to handle everything. I still believe the human element is very much a must in almost everything that we do. Conflict resolution is one of them. What AI might tell you, I don't know if it's going to be the exact simulation or exact scenario that you're going to get with a proper personality. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times from my experience, when I work with ChatGPT and I try to put a simulation of any kind of scenario, acts or it responds as if it's dealing with me, the personality that it's been accustomed to dealing with. It does not know my wife's personality or Brent's personality or Brian's personality. So you can't teach it, but it's really like, if I tell it, like, unless it's talking to you and it's been talking to you for a while, it doesn't know who Brian is. That's been my experience.
There's a way to set that up.
Yeah. And I mean, it just needs to train on some of your writing or anything like that. But to your point, the two pieces that AI does not have, where you need the human still, is the creativity and the empathy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Either one of those in AI.
Yeah, the empathy. Because it involves reasoning and emotion, and it's not going to understand that yet.
Brian, how can people reach you? How can people reach out to you?
Yeah, so probably the best way is my website. It's smbaccelerators.com, or through my LinkedIn. I'm linkedin.com/in/Brian Morgan 1. Either one of those is a perfect way to do it. And I'm happy to give you a booking link to throw in the bottom of this if you want to.
Absolutely. Brian, I've known Brian for a few years. Brian was my boss, by the way, at one point. And he is one of the easiest people to talk to, one of the nicest people to talk to, really looks out for you. If it doesn't make sense for you, he's going to tell you that's not for you. So Brian is one of the most ethical, down-to-earth guys that you can work with. Thank you, Brian, for being on the show today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And one more thing, I did just post how AI is supercharging Agile on LinkedIn today. So put carousel out there.
Turning them around.
Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah, weird.
And David, how can people reach out to you?
Betterwaysofworking.com. Please sign up for my newsletter. You also get my podcast and my videos that I mentioned as well through that. YouTube channel, Better Ways of Working. And also, I have an upcoming book. This is an advanced copy. That's why it's got this stripe on it. Who Killed Agile? I do talk about AI in this book. Myself and Luis Quintella, we co-authored this book. It's available now on Kindle. This is the paperback. We're going to do a hardcover. If you sign up at betterwaysofworking.com, you'll get the forward in the first chapter for free. And if you like it, download the rest of the book. But Who Killed Agile talks about our experiences with Agile and where Agile is going. If you know Bob Schatz, a legendary CST Scrum trainer, he wrote the forward. Really grateful for his forward as well. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me on today, Haas.
Excellent. Thank you for being part of this. And Brent, any parting words for us today?
No, I mean, and I had to take the glasses off, and I'm going to put them back on here at the very end of this. A huge shout out to both you guys for joining us today. We always try to make these things fun. And, hopefully we are alive in 20 years to talk about this again when the AI has taken over the world. If you like us, shoot us a like. Definitely reach out to us. We want to start some more conversations. We're going to get into things other than just AI, Agile, all kinds of things. We are here to have great conversations with great people, hence our guests that are here today. And so thank you for participating and watching us. If you made it this far, then you definitely are a fan.
SMB and Better Ways of Working. SMB and Better Ways of Working and Who Killed Agile. I am really looking forward to reading that book. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show. Brent, thank you as always being my partner in crime in this. Thank you so much for listening to us and hearing us get all freaked out about the future. And then Brian has to calm us down again and then work us up again. So, all right. As Brent said, remember, like us, share us, follow us at Desperate Radio on Instagram, X, or LinkedIn. You want to reach out to us, haas@desperateradio.com. Comment below. You want to be a guest on this show? Let us know. We'd love to hear what you have to say. All right. This has been Desperate Radio. I'm Haas, and thank you for listening.
So can we have, without getting copyright issues, can we have like a T1?
Also for training.
Hey, Frankie, can you say what Brent just said better? Just kidding.
Please, Frankie, I just butchered that.
Go ahead. So, how do you like our hats and merchandise?
Yeah,
these are
merch. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, where's mine? I don't have a hat.
All guests receive a hat, right?
We'll have a website you can go and buy one. Only at $89.99.
What? Isn't that how we get paid for being on this show?
It's in my
You
writer.
get paid for the advertisement. SMB, guys. Go use SMB.